Hello, boys. It's Dr. Infinity.
Beefaroni's fun to eat.
Beefaroni's really neat.
Beefaroni's quite a treat. Hooray!
Yippee! For
beefaroni.
beefaroni!
I can't take it anymore.
Today I'm going to be talking about Thx-1138. This is the first movie that George Lucas made. It was like a student film project, and I saw it yesterday. And I know I haven't put up like a movie review on this channel for a long time, and I want to start correcting that. I want to start doing some movie reviews, even though this isn't really a recommendation. This is maybe something for you to think about. And I'm going to talk about two other science fiction movies I watched recently. Those are also not really recommendations, but I thought the movie was interesting. I'm going to have spoilers in this little video, maybe. This will be 10 minutes or so, 15. Essentially, this is a movie about Robert Duvall. He and some others live in this kind of emotionless or emotion-suppressing society deep underground. It's kind of cult-like, and humans are more like ants in a colony rather than people. And it's oppressive, but it's not like it's a weird form of like oppression where like the people kind of oppress themselves. There is like a police force and everything, but it's a little odd. But I think it had some interesting ideas. There's some stuff visually I liked, but ultimately I didn't really care for it. But I did see over on Substack, the Bizarre Archives mentioned it, and they recommended it. And I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. I'll give it a shot. Why not? I've been looking for a movie to do, but I didn't really care for it. Some interesting stuff, but ultimately not really for me. So we'll just get right in. I'm going to point out just some things I liked, and then, some of my thoughts as we go along. So Robert Duvall. In this society, everyone is bald. Everyone is bald. They all wear the same suits. It's very sterile, right? It's very sterile. And Robert Duvall works in this factory line. He makes robots, and his wife works, not wife, roommate works in this call center. And our police force are androids. I thought at first maybe they're just humans wearing these kind of like robotic masks, but no, they are androids. We're really deep underground. It's not like they're individual buildings. You know what I mean? It's almost like we're in this huge underground mall, right? Like rather than just a bunch of buildings underground, it's like one massive structure. And I guess that's what it is. It's this massive structure. Religion in this world is dispensed through a booth. Like you go to this booth and it's a confessional, it's a confidant, even though everything you say is being recorded, and it also tells you to like purchase things. It kind of does all three. But when Robert Duvall gets home, we have some interesting stuff where like his wife is calling out to him and he's ignoring her, pretending like she's not there. And he's just completely avoiding her, right? He's completely avoiding her. And nothing is said, but you can like see that kind of like longing, that worry in her face, trying to have this connection. He wants nothing to do with it. Donald Pleasance, he works in the kind of call center radio tower as well with Robert Duvall's wife, Duvall is THX or Tex as she calls him, and she is Luh or LUH, right? Because everyone has like these very dehumanizing license plates names. His wife is preparing drugs in the kitchen, and then he's watching like this porn just right there, and there's this jerk-off machine, and then he's just watching a cop, like an android cop, just beat a man, and it's like therapeutic for him. It's very odd. We see like some of the androids, I think it's later on, but like an android breaks down, it's just walking into a wall repeatedly. And we have his wife up against the corner, just facing the corner, because she just can't deal with it, because she's kind of experimenting with her emotion-suppressing drug. And he ends up throwing up, and he throws up a lot of the drugs he's been taking. So then he and his roommate, I'm going to keep saying wife, roommate or mate, end up connecting, and they end up having sex. And it's this really humanizing good moment. This is like one of like the nice things. I would say like in terms of like dystopians and stuff. 1984 with John Hurt. That's a really good adaptation of 1984. And they're just other better things that do like all of the things that this movie does. I think, yeah, just better than this. But that was something good. It's just like people discovering humanity through intimacy. Le doesn't want him to take any more drugs because then he would report her for not taking drugs and he wouldn't feel the same way about her. And he agrees, even though he's worried about what it's going to do for his job performance. And Donald Pleasance is trying to switch around roommates so he can have Tex become his roommate, not Le, which is a little odd. I don't know if it's necessarily homosexual. It could be. I don't know about that. I think it's just he's attracted to something about him, because that threw me for a little bit because I thought he was trying to have Le as his roommate, but no, he wants THX. And then he ends up filing a report against Sen to try to have him arrested, like trying to have a shift change, which is, I guess, just swapping roommates or whatever, but it's illegal because everything's done with like the computer. So at work, because he's screwing up a lot and like his brain levels or whatever aren't in sync, they put him in a mind lock, which makes his eyes go white, and then he's just like completely frozen, and this causes a huge problem at work. And then he gets arrested and jailed, and he's found to be incurable, and now he's in this detention cell, which is just this endless white room. This is one other thing I like, where it's like jails for us. It's like you're in a confined space, right? You're in solitary confinement or just a jail cell, and it's a small confined space. But in this world, it's you have infinite whiteness, infinite void, and it's like you can walk as far as you want, really, and you'll never get out. You'll never be free. I thought that was kind of interesting. We have some voices that we don't see who's speaking, but some voices are talking through a camera, and they're just controlling his body like a little puppet. There's that. He has a kind of vision or hallucination, a delusion, where he's holding Le. She tells him that she loves him, or maybe she doesn't say she loves him, but she says that she's pregnant. And then like 3 cops are just surrounding him, and they're just like jabbing at him to get like different reactions out of him. And it's like, is there a purpose to this? It's like, I don't know, but it's like you're just experimenting with like an animal, right? You're just doing that. And then he gets moved into kind of a group area where they have like some, I guess, benches / beds, where it's like him, there's Donald or Sen. That's his like 3-letter thing. It's Sen. Yeah, they're all kind of just together. Bring in this hairy midget guy who's like, I don't know if he's supposed to be like half monkey or something. I'll get into that later. Who comes from like the outer shell. And they're just a bunch of people there that they're like mentally incompetent, or they're just dangerous or whatever, but they can't fit in with the rest of society, so they're just going to be stuck there, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen to them. Maybe they're there forever, right? There's a rape that occurs just right there in front of the whole group, but no one reacts to it. Everyone's that inhuman, that unfeeling, that uncaring, where one of the male prisoners rapes one of the female prisoners, and just there's no reaction. Tex has had enough, and he starts walking in a straight line, and Sen follows him, and he's cowardly about it, but he still follows him because he also wants to get out of there. He tries to make himself like the boss in jail. He's trying to set things up. So he's kind of amusing. But then they meet a man, right? So they're walking in this void, and they meet a man, and he points them the way out. And when they do get out, it's just this hellscape of people. It's like an ant colony. It's just this nonstop movement of people, this tidal wave of people moving that's so loud and chaotic. But earlier, when we were traveling before with Tex, it was you didn't really notice. And I think it's just probably the drugs, where it's like you need the drugs to kind of cope with being in such close proximity, to be with so many people around you all the time. That's another function of the drugs, because they can't really handle it. But Sen is separated from them. He ends up killing a man in front of God, or at least knocking him down. He like slightly pushes him, and the man falls down and doesn't get up. If he's like dead, then I think that's very silly and very stupid. Like he's praying to like this image of God or Jesus, and it's like he's talking about wanting to go back to be a part of like the system again, because he just can't cope, right? He just can't cope. He wants to be useful for people. The man they found, he says that he's a hologram that just like went rogue, and some people I think online are saying that he's like an actual hologram, and I'm like, I thought he was just like mentally ill, right? I thought he was just kind of a crazy person that thought he was a hologram, right? But I don't know. I don't know. He and Tex and the hologram, or we'll just call him the hologram, they go to a computer room, and this computer room says the La is dead, and you just have this this image of La like reduced, and just her organs have been harvested, and she's like in this little like glass jar. We don't really get an emotional reaction, you know. It's obviously just kind of horrible because you thought he's going to get out of jail, he's going to find La, they're going to get the hell out of here. But he's going to have to make this journey alone. So even if he does manage to escape the system, he is alone. You know, he doesn't have his mate. She's, you know, in his little delusions in jail. She's not pregnant with his child, or maybe she was. But that's over with now. That can't happen. Tex gets a car. I thought it was a little strange how he's so skilled with driving, but whatever. He leaves the hologram guy behind who crashes. While this is going on, Sen helps some kids and then goes away with some officers without resisting. And then the hologram guy is missing from the car wreck, so maybe he actually was a hologram. I don't know. It's a little up in the air. I don't know. Something I had a problem with that I'm going to bring up. So earlier in the factory, they mind lock him, they mind lock Tex, and then Tex can't move, can't do anything. And then he has like the accident at work with like the radiation rod or whatever, right? So that happens. Why exactly can they not mind lock him again? Because like no one was touching him or anything during that in the factory during that mind lock. So why can't they just mind lock him again? I don't really get it. It kind of kills the whole escape thing from jail in the second half of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, I do think it's kind of a movie that's more about ideas rather than like plot. But that is something I will bring up. Why exactly can they not mind lock him again? I don't know. And we have weird little CGI bits. I guess this was the director's cut of George Lucas like in the early 2000s, and he just added weird little CGI bits. Like there's this like little scorpion insect thing. There's also like some monkey people, and it looks bad. There's just random CGI thrown in. It really stands out. It does not look good. I don't know why, but there's like little, I guess these are outer shell creatures, and these are like monkey humanoid things, right? This car chase, and then Tex ends up climbing a ladder. He's going towards the sun, and then the cops that are pursuing him, they are told over the radio that the case to bring Tex in is over budget, and the cops are being called off. And as this is going on, the cops are just shouting things like, "We just want to help you, you know, we're just here to assist," right? And it's very calm and orderly, but he ignores them, and then he climbs. He reaches the surface, and he's standing on the surface, and then there's the sun. We don't know if the world above is inhospitable or not, but he's there. He is on the surface, and that's the end of the movie. I would say I didn't think there's a ton here in terms of like character or plot. Not really too much. I think the mind lock is a pretty big plot hole, if it is a plot hole, because I don't really know how mind locks work, or if there's a reason why it wouldn't work. I don't know. I don't know if that was thought of, you know, by George Lucas. I would not watch this again. I wouldn't buy it, and I wouldn't really recommend it to people. So it's a pass from me. But I would say, like, maybe if you just want to see it, like, hey, this is George Lucas's first movie. Let's see what's going on. Okay, like, yeah, I don't think that's terrible. And two other science fiction movies I saw recently were The Sixth Day. This is with Arnold, and this is essentially like on the sixth day, God created man. So this is about like in the future, human cloning is illegal, but of course there's some like cloning stuff going on in the background, and some like shady people thought that Arnold was killed, and they needed Arnold was killed along with like their CEO boss guy, and they've already replaced their CEO boss with a clone to cover up his death. So they also replace Arnold with a clone, not realizing that Arnold was just somewhere else, right? So now there's two Arnolds going around, and like there's this stuff of clones and whatever. It's not very good. There's some like really bad dialogue and delivery in the movie as well. And it's just an science fiction movie. Not horrible, but very skippable. And then I saw The Minority Report with Tom Cruise, and that's these like weird people in a tank can predict crime in the future, but they're trying to get this done on a national scale. But there's something called the Minority Report because there's three like things in the tank, and they don't always all agree on if a crime is going to occur the way it's going to occur, and that's a problem. So these minority reports get deleted, they get shelved, and then Tom Cruise is uncovering this conspiracy because he's revealed to be a future murderer. So yeah, there's that. Not a good week for sci-fi. Not a good week for sci-fi, I guess. I'd recommend Gattaca. That's a really great sci-fi movie. That's probably my favorite movie or one of my favorite movies. There's that. I'm going to have some other movies. I'm going to try to have like a book review and then like a short movie review like every week or every other week. So there's kind of this Polish historical thing that I'm going to check out. Hopefully that's good. That kind of has me excited. And there's also this other movie, kind of a drama romance thing. I don't know. We'll see about that as well. I'm going to have, still churning out some indie book reviews. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Dr. Infinity out.